fundamentals, from the macros to the fundamentals. No ass on the data today. Should be going from Alexis next. Geoff will host the show for the next 10 minutes or so. I'll see you guys back in a few minutes. Lexi, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Julian. Awesome stuff there. So basically, I think a lot of stuff has shaken up last week. Good for you guys if you have caught it. So let me just reiterate last week's positions that we were looking at. So we were looking at Aussie shorts, Euro shorts, and dollar longs, right? I would have to kind of agree with Julian down here about maybe, I'm not sure whether the Aussie will continue going short. So there are a couple of stuff that I was looking at to see how to take advantage of the shake-up that we had the last couple of weeks. So, but I think one thing that caught my eye in the reading was, I think, one of this. So this website is worldexports.com, is just some free stats. And what really interested me was this area over here. So last year, which was 2020, the year-over-year increases that consumed Australian exported goods were US leading with 31.6%. And look at China. China is only 1.4%. So this was also something pretty interesting that I think in one of our earlier chats that Lloyd mentioned about, is China still going to so-called support Australia in that sense? And how long, how will the distribution of this exporting partners then come into play moving forward, right? So do bear in mind that the statistics we see here are a bit of a lag. So they are from the latest last year's data. So this was 2020 data. Of course, this is 2021 now. We don't really have that out yet. But you can see that China had a 90.6 billion, which is about 43% of Australians' exports. So while China still does have a large hand in the basket, are they changing it up? US, of course, have increased their consumption by 31.6%, and then China is only 1.4%. So this comes to show a question mark, right? Whether or not we will continue to see the Chinese renminbi currency, whether or not there is still any kind of close correlation that comes from this moving forward. So with that in mind, I'm a little bit more hesitant on taking continued Aussie shorts. I will probably take a more technical standpoint of this and kind of wait to see whether or not it's a good time to go long. But I'm a bit more hesitant. And also on the renminbi side, you can see a consolidation happening over here on a weekly time frame. So again, I'm just going to sit out the Aussie for now and probably wait to see if there's anything happening which could give me a upturn. Another reason to kind of back that would of course be just normal stats. If we go and take a quick peek at the Australian jobless rate. So we were looking at unemployment and inflation for the last couple of weeks. You can see that Australia still has a nice gradual decrease in the latest unemployment stats, which is kind of a good thing. It means that they are trying to get sorted in a way. What I am curious about is the Euro side. It did have a dip as well, 7.9. But if you compare across the board, most economies, Euro currently has one of the higher unemployment figures currently. If you compare, with all the other economies, so Euro's leading with one of the highest unemployment figures. So that makes me think: is there an opportunity to look for potential Euro shorts next week? So with that, just jumping quickly into the charts. I will just focus on the euro dollar, which I think the short has already happened with the break of a trend line. This is scribbling from last week, but what I want to do is go to a longer time frame, a weekly time frame, to see where things are at. And we still have a nice, decent amount of space, I would say, below here before the next, demand zone, or whatever you call it, horizontal level. So I would be on a watch out for potential euro shorts to see if we can take advantage of just a perceived weakness in the euro economy. Other than that, I think a lot of consolidation is happening next week. Some of the moves that we have been waiting for example, the dollar sing, etc., has already gone. But I'm a bit more hesitant to jump in next week. Let's see what happens after the Bitcoin rally, the stock market rally. Let's see what happens next before we make a decision fundamentally on where it's going what. So I think next week I myself will be focused on more technical trades with looking for opportunities for euro shorts. That's all for me, Paul.
Thank you, Lexi. And gee whiz, I can hardly argue against any of that because it's very much aligned to what my technical scenario says this week. And I'll get to that, of course, in due course. But